Hey Bear Buddies, thanks for joining me for Volume 44 of Furberries Fables. I apologize for my long absence, my computer was broken and away being repaired, but I've got it back now and we're ready to go again. If you enjoy this story, please leave a like and a comment down below to help my channel grow. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Today's story is Beware of Dog by Reddit user LoneDonut. Doesn't look that fancy to me. You sure this is the right place? Amy snapped a piece of gum, smacking her lips as she chewed. Yes, I'm sure. This guy is loaded, lives alone, and is bedridden. Easy money, baby. Anthony rubbed his hands together greedily, then picked up the bolt cutters and snapped them a few times. They were standing in front of a large two-story home that was at the end of a dark, unlit street. The shutters were missing, the yard was an overgrown disaster, and the paint peeled in long strips. The house belonged to a Mr. Logan Thompson who had made his fortune in the silver industry. He retired after a medical scare, and few had seen him leave his home since then. The house was left to rot, and encouraged people like Amy and Anthony. The couple were like most young couples their age, young, stupid, and in love, but unlike other people, they made their money off the misfortune of others. They scammed and stole from the elderly, robbed a few gas stations, and panhandled like there was no tomorrow. They were, as they say, the scum of the earth, and Mr. Thompson was destined to be their next victim. Amy stood by annoyed as she watched Anthony attempt to cut a hole in the metal fence. After watching him struggle and fail a few times, she groaned and said, "Let me do it. You'll take all night going this way." Before Anthony could protest, she snatched the bolt cutters from his hands and quickly made a hole in the fence just large enough for them to fit through. She stood back, placed a hand on her hip, and blew on the end of the bolt cutters as if it were a gun she had just finished firing. Anthony tossed a couple duffel bags in through the hole, then stood aside for Amy to go first. She rolled her eyes and crouched into the opening. Once on the other side, she gathered the duffel bags and crept up to the old house. Anthony wormed his way into the hole, the back of his shirt catching on the metal, then scrambled after Amy. They were rounding the side of the house when Amy stopped, looking up at something that was posted on the wall of the building. Anthony ran into the back of her and was about to complain when Amy elbowed him in the stomach, glaring at him. She pressed her finger to her lips, then pointed up at something on the wall. Anthony followed her gaze and read a sign that said, "Beware of dog," with the image of a Rottweiler underneath. He snorted and waved his hand unconcerned. They've dealt with guard dogs before. He reached into one of the duffel bags and pulled out a fresh bone he had picked up from the pet store the day prior. Picked up at the pet store dumpster anyways. He waved it at Amy and pushed past her towards the back of the house. She glanced one final time up at the sign, then followed him. There was a long wooden porch on the back of the house, spanning the whole back wall. One rusty screen door slammed open and shut on its hinges. Anthony climbed up on the porch first, setting down the bone and searching his pockets for a lockpick. Behind the screen door was a large oak door with a simple old-fashioned keyhole below the knob, a piece of cake. Amy held a flashlight up for Anthony and nervously glanced around them. Just as Anthony was about to begin, a low growl emanated from the other side of the porch, causing them to jump. Amy swooped the light over in that direction and was stunned by what she saw. Expecting a large dog of some sort, the couple was surprised to see a large naked man squatting in the dark. He was large, his hair a ragged long mess. He had a beard that reached down to his belly and was peppered with gray streaks. The man's eyes shined in the flashlight, and specks of drool flew from his mouth as he growled louder. Barely seen underneath the unkempt beard was a red spiked dog collar. "What the fuck?" Amy started to say, but she was cut off as the man sprinted towards them. He was barking now, madly screaming out the sounds as he charged towards them, running using his arms and legs. His teeth gnashed and locked onto Amy's calf, who had been standing closest to him. She screamed and stumbled back, tripping over her own feet. She crashed to the porch floor and the flashlight flew from her hand. Anthony's fight-or-flight instincts kicked in and he chose the latter option. He flew past Amy and the naked man, bolting for the metal fence. He could hear Amy screaming for his help, then cursing his name, then one long terrified shriek before silence. Anthony ran as fast as his legs could carry him, struggling to hold up his loose pants as he did so. He neared the fence and searched frantically for the hole. In his fear, he didn't search long and proceeded to try and climb over the fence, risking the barbed wire at the top. He felt a hand grab for his sneaker, but he quickly threw himself over to the other side, badly cutting himself on the chest and legs with the barbed wire. When he picked himself up off the ground, he found himself face to face with the naked man on the other side of the fence. The man's lips were caked in blood, and a low growl seeped through his teeth. Without a second thought, Anthony sprinted down the road, running as far away as he could from that house and its awful guard dog. As he ran, Anthony could only think one thing that caused him to laugh crazily. Maybe it's time for a career change.